At Focus on Liberia, we discuss everything Liberia, from education to politics, arts and culture, entertainment, agriculture, history, religion, family, and technology. Focus on Liberia uncovers and showcases the best of Liberia and shows the world the truth about Liberia. We educate, elevate, and promote all things Liberia. We conduct interviews, panel discussions, debates, and more. Tune in to Focus on Liberia on Facebook and YouTube and be a part of the stories that make up the news.
This is Focus on Liberia, and I am Dennis Jah.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Friday Night Debate on Focus on Liberia. My name is Dennis Jah, and we are broadcasting from Atlanta, Georgia. In tonight's edition of Friday Night Debate, we're going to be debating trending national issues. There are some issues big time that are trending, and we're going to debate them. Tonight, we're going to be asking them or discussing these issues in the form of questions. There have been many questions on the minds of fellow Liberians. Number one of those questions that people have been asking, should President-elect Joseph Numa Boakai be chilling with Stanton Witherspoon, who is being convicted on federal crimes here in the United States? That's question number one. We're going to be debating that tonight. Also in the debate is Prince Johnson, for the lack of a better word, the godfather of Nimba County. As these elections prove that Prince Johnson is indeed the biggest kingmaker. Wherever he directs, Nimba goes. We're going to be debating that. Number three, should Joseph Numa Boakai Jr. hold a top-level position in his father's government? Should Jojo Boakai, they call him, hold a top-level position in his father's government? We're going to debate that. And last but not the least, should the First Lady, Katumo Boakai, have a budget in our national budget? Should there be a budget line for the First Lady's office, just like there was a budget line for Clark Weir? That's First Lady Clark Weir. Those are the things we're going to be debating tonight. But as we already prepared for the debate, news broke that Monrovia City Mayor Jefferson Koji has been sanctioned by OFAC. With all this, we're going to be debating tonight. Let me welcome Madam Alice Wilson Moba. Welcome, Alice, to Friday Night Debate.
Thank you, Dennis. It's always a pleasure being here, and I look forward to a great debate.
Thank you. Let me welcome for the first time on Focus on Liberia, Freeman Quitape Flomo. Welcome,
Thank
sir.
you, Dennis. It is my pleasure.
Okay, we are glad to have you tonight. This is the first time and we'll take time to introduce you later and give you a welcome treat. Let me welcome also the perfect manager, Famoli Maurice Kruma. Mr. Kruma, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Dennis. Good to be here again.
Mr. Victor J. Nabwe is our next panelist here on Friday Night Debate. Mr. Nabwe, welcome.
Thank you. It's good to be back and welcome, Flomo, to the don't want to say gang, but welcome to the show.
Last and definitely not the least is our friend from Waplo Institute all the way in Kalipo, Kanwik, Mr. Mohammed Sharif. Mr. Sharif is also FOL political analyst. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Dennis. It's good to be here.
We want to welcome all our viewers from across the globe. This is Focus on Liberia Friday Night Debate. When it's Friday, it's debate time. Again, Mr. Flomo Freeman is the former president of the Liberian Community Association of Connecticut. I was there 2015 running campaign, and Mr. Flomo was the kingmaker. He's also an administrator powerhouse of praise. That's the Agape Center in Sioux Falls, South Dakota. He's the national vice president of the New Crutown Association in the Americas, and he's married with only 4 kids. I say only intentionally. Mr. Flomo Freeman, welcome to the show. We are so happy to have you for your first time. Let's present to you a bottle of water to say feel at home and enjoy your stay.
Thank you.
We want to welcome our viewers, be part of the debate tonight as we debate this issue. So Today, just today, we got news of Jefferson Koji, and let me read from what they say. This, our people say the water that from the frog mouth is always the coolest. So I'm going to read from. We want to hear from the water from the frog mouth is the one that's from the embassy website. Sorry about that. So on the embassy website, this is what we are reading. They said today, the U.S. Department of the Treasury Office of Foreign Asset Control, OFAC, designated Jefferson Koji, who is the mayor of Monrovia, Liberia, and is a senior leader in the Congress for Democrats, has a reputation for stoking violence and has a powerful grip on Monrovia's youth. He controls paramilitary-style organization associated with the CDC, which allegedly recruits former combatants and recently released prisoners. Koji, if you stay, OFA has reason to believe that Koji has instructed this organization to violently disrupt demonstrations conducted by government critics on political opposition. Koji and his supporters have been involved in violence in connection with an opposition rally in July 2022. Students attended a memorial service for former Liberian President Amos Sawyer and anti-rape protests. If you go down and say Koji is being designated for being a foreign person who is responsible for or complicit in or who has directly or indirectly engaged in serious human rights abuse, or for being a foreign person who is a current or former government official. Well, what does this all mean? The statement continue. As a result of today's sanctions or actions, all property and interest in property of the designated persons described above that are in the United States or in possession or control of U.S. persons are blocked and must be reported to OFAC. In addition, any entities that are owned directly or indirectly, individually or in aggregate, 50% or more by one or more blocked persons are also blocked. That's the story we heard today. Let me hear from Mr. Maurice Croman. Mr. Croman, we have seen a lot of these designations by OFAC. What does this one mean to you?
Just for the record, I've never been a minister. Just for the record, so that we don't create.
I meant to say Mr., not Minister.
There you go. Okay, thank you. All right. So it's an interesting development. I was on another show earlier today, and I was basically arguing that Liberians are fond of claiming sovereignty and talking about how we are an independent country and we are sovereign and we have our own laws that protect us as citizens. But then when it comes to the accountability part, we tend to relegate that responsibility to either America or someone outside, somewhere else. And I found that very interesting. Why is it that we are depending on another country to hold our citizens accountable for the crimes that are committed in our country? Even at the point where these outside countries are holding our people accountable, somehow we still don't develop the courage to say, okay, now that these people have said these things, why not bring these people through our laws, our legal system, to establish whether their assertions or allegations against these people are right or wrong? Unfortunately, we don't do that. This is probably the fifth person that the U.S. have imposed sanction on, and our legal system have never taken an inch. Justice Ministry is mute throughout the entire process. The court system have not done anything about just either proving them right or proving them wrong. I mean, either way, there has to be some kind of way that the country can allow these people to be heard. Somehow, you haven't done that. On the other side, Koji, as an individual, should have seen this coming from the day Weah became president of the Republic of Liberia, and he was given a huge state responsibility. An incompetent young man, less than 30 years old, you give him the responsibility of the city to clean, and he turns that into some sort of new country by itself with its own military, paramilitary individuals. He trained them and they are law unto themselves. The police chief of the country is afraid of him. The court system, all of them are afraid of him. And he imposes himself on every aspect of the governance process. And he intimidates other people. And he involves himself in all these ritualistic killings. At least it's an allegation for now. But he should have seen that these things will have some sort of consequences on him. And to me, this is just the beginning. I think there are more that will come, but I'm worried about his young woman and his 2 kids that are sitting in Minnesota. Who knows what's going to happen to them within the next, few days, few weeks or so. I'm worried about them. But he should have seen this coming from the beginning.
And Maurice, just to be clear, you say Koji is engaging in ritualistic killings. I mean, I've never heard that.
I said, in allegation. I said allegation.
Who's making those allegations?
Huh?
Who is accusing him of those?
I mean, there was I'm sure, Dennis, you've been following the media. The Gloria Mususcat case, Koji was directly involved in that case with a young lady who died in Gloria Mususcat house. That Koji and one Valley teller were directly involved in the process of that young woman's death. And you didn't hear about that?
I heard allegation where you said ritualistic.
I said allegations. I said allegations, Chief.
Yeah, but that was not ritualistic killing.
Okay, all right. But at least I've made my point, Dennis. So I think maybe.
Yeah, I'm holding you accountable for your point, but
which is okay.
Thank you, Mr. Mr. Nambe. This is Koji has been accused so many times, but I've really not seen any proof. Very recently, he was accused of killing Valley Teller, and we saw Valley Teller in court. So, what's about this Koji that his name is in everything? Now he's been sanctioned, and so far there has been, nothing tangible that he's been linked to that we've seen with evidence. Is this witch hunting?
I don't know if we want to refer to this as witch hunting. First of all, yes, your concern is just I'm just as concerned as you. How is it that a guy who is just the Lord Mayor of the city of Monrovia somehow finds himself in the middle of almost every security related crisis that's happening in the country? As to establish the proof and all of that, I agree with Mr. Kroma. I think these allegations, if they had been investigated, I believe the truth will come out. But I think our local authorities have not taken on the initiative, and this is why it has to be a foreign government, such as the United States, that will come out and actually do for us what we're supposed to do for ourselves. And it is a failure of our government. There are a lot of allegations that have been leveled against this Lord Mayor. His own director of police came in the States here and made some wild allegations. Later on, recanted those allegations after he returned to Monrovia. Who knows whether he recanted those voluntarily or under duress, as being alleged now under this Magnitsky Act that he's been charged with, that he's in a habit of intimidating people, of subjecting people to duress. He's prone to violence, all of these allegations. And I am not sure if the Americans are going to make these allegations without solid and substantial evidence. So, and I agree with Mr. Kroma. I can't say that I'm surprised that this is happening now. I think I'm just kind of surprised that it is taking this long. But notwithstanding, in Liberia, we say 99 days for a rogue and 1 day for the master. And apparently, today is his day. But I would hasten to say that I believe there are a lot more people who exhibit similar behavior as Mr. Koji, who are also, I think, are going to be subject to these sanctions as well. I think they're not done yet. So, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, since this outgoing government didn't show any interest in following through on these allegations or these charges that were levied by the U.S. government, as in the case of uh, Councillor Cephas and Minister Tue and Director Tuawe. Hopefully, this incoming government will actually request the U.S. government to present the evidence that they have, and hopefully use whatever to prosecute these people, because I think it is not sufficient for them to just be sanctioned by the U.S. government and then they just walk around and continue to do what they were doing, and some of them end up, some are serving in government, and some are even getting elected in the government. It's confusing. How is it that somebody with such a character, who has been sanctioned by another government, and the facts are there, and these people are allowed to do as they please?
Yeah.
So it's really, so I'm really hoping that this incoming government will plug up the courage and go after these people, because most of these people have accumulated so much wealth which doesn't really belong to them. They have to be expropriated. Yes, I hope so. So we'll have to see how how this where this goes.
Thank you, Mr. Flomo. I was also wondering why this time, and people are asking that Koji want to see, because Koji has been there for 6 years and he has just a month or less to be in that position. Hopefully, I don't think. I have no reason to believe that he's going to be retained. I mean, why this time? Does that also concern you, Mr.
Well,
Freeman?
thank you, Dennis. It doesn't concern me what this thing. It really doesn't. And I want to believe that the United States government will not just wake up one Sun morning and call, and put such documents together against any individual. It doesn't matter the country, whether the person lives in America or they live in any other country. Those things takes time. And I strongly believe that before they came out today, they reached out to the government, the current government in Liberia, through diplomatic channel, and they've been discussing these things. Most of the times, these things they try to work on it behind closed doors to see how they can solve the problem. But once things continue to escalate or continues in that direction, they have no choice. So it is not about why this time. It is about doing the right thing. And if I was coaching tonight, I won't sleep. I won't sleep because I know for a fact I live in America for at least 10, 15 years. The United States government would not come up with such a thing if they do not have evidence, enough evidence against an individual. The sad part about it, and it's across Africa, our justice system is weak. And it is weak because, in most part, the executive branch of government overshadow everything. Even they overshadow everything in most African countries. So that's one of the major reasons why our justice system is weak. So it's not about what time. It is the right time. It probably came late. It should have caught his attention, or probably people should have advised him, to change certain things. But again, it has happened. And I will say this: if the mayor feels or knows that he's not guilty, I mean, you have his day to prove, to show evidence that everything that has been labeled against him are false. And so the same thing with the United States government. That's how the process works. Yeah. Thank you.
And why you think this is the right thing to do? And why Koji?
Well, it is not about Koji. This thing is not about an individual. It is about doing the right thing. When you hold public office, you have to be very, very careful. You are under a complete microscope. It is different from someone working in the private sector. Even the things we do out here working in the Liberian community, we are under extreme microscope. So I don't think this thing is a wish hunt. Like I said, it is not about Kochi. We go back to McGill and Bill Torrey, everybody else. We go to other countries. We come right back to the United States. We all know what has been happening in the news with Trump. So when we say why Trump, the only thing former President Trump, have to do is to have his day in court. And because the justice system here is strong, that is why they were able to prosecute him based on all these allegations. It may not be sanctions and all of that, but the fact that he was accused of certain things, he's having his day in court, he's providing evidence. And I think if people accuse you, so the burden of proof is on the accuser. So in this case, the burden of proof is on the United States government. So the Liberian government, through the justice system, will have to pick up this and try it. And they can go as far as back with Bill Torrey, everybody else. Yeah. So it is not about Kochi. It's exactly what should be happening. Because when these things happening, they contribute to good governance.
Thank you. Let me go to Alice. Alice, the United States before Koji had designated other people, from Vanny Sherman to Prince Johnson, Bill Tuawe, McGill, and the rest of them. So far, I mean, nothing happens. I mean, you can be designated and run for elected position and you win. Why should we take this one seriously?
Well, it is not about taking it seriously. It's about setting the records. You know, the United States government have been doing well. It has tried everything to make Liberia to understand that some of the behaviors of officials are not the right thing for the country. But because we don't have the ability to prosecute anybody who is accused or guilty of anything in Liberia, this is why we have those people you just named, from Vanny Sherman, McGill, who just won elections, and many others. So it is very sad that a foreign government will have to make pronouncement, things that are glaring. And somebody has to tell our country that this is what a person is doing. And even at that, nobody takes action. We have the justice ministry. Nobody does anything on the kind of charges that these people supposed to be facing. Jefferson Koji, this is not surprise. Everybody knows what he does. I was in Monrovia when they had the Sawyer Memorial on the university campus. I had just got there, and the big screen out there was, there sitting down with other people watching from outside. And his people came. The guys came. The program was indoor. Somebody was speaking, but they tried to go in there with songs they were singing, promoting the city mayor. And the people came out to tell them, you got to tune it down. After the speaker, you can come in. And they said no. They forced their way in there. They knocked the guy down who was at the door. And in no time, they started throwing stones. I had to run for my life. So, I mean, it was like a movies. This is how he operates. Look at July 26th. People carry petition to the embassy, and you have people moving on them. And what happened? Perpetrators were never brought to justice. So impunity is the order of the day. American government will try to tell, for the records to be there. They're not going to send people in Monrovia to go to the courts and investigate the cases and prosecute people. They identify what is wrong, and still we are incapable of leading our own causes. And this is the sad part. So, Koji, the violence is something that is glaring. And
Right.
even recently, when President Weah considered the elections, you have somebody like a sitting mayor come in and say he's going to court. What is his position? I was wondering, does he really think he's the president? So everything they say about him, it's not something that is strange, but I think America is on the right course and our government need to do something.
But Alice, this is our country is a country of laws. So far, none of these things have been linked to Koji, right? So let's use the July 26, 2002 incident where student Christopher Waters Sisulu was brutalized. The police came in and took some people for questioning, and so far, nothing has been heard. Shouldn't the United States be holding the police accountable than Koji?
Koji is powerful, okay? Whether you want to ignore that or not, but he is powerful. This is a young man who is speaking after the president of Liberia had already spoken, and look at his body language. He was talking like he was the president. What he's going to do, what he's not going to do after the president has spoken. That should tell you there are too many people in the place that are afraid of him. For a reason I don't understand, because he just a city mayor, but they allow him to carry guns. He got people with guns. So he's running a government by himself. So why would the police not be afraid of him?
Right. Thank you, Mr. Sharif. And let me welcome Tavina Cole to the show. Welcome, Tavi.
Hi, Dennis. Hi, everybody. Glad to be on.
Thank you. Mr. Sharif, many times you have mentioned Koji. And with all due respect to the mayor, I don't want to use a word that would sound insulting to him, but his kind of behaving foolish shouldn't be equated to all the things that they are saying about him, because so far there has been nothing linked to him. And if the United States is really serious, they should be holding the justice system accountable. Not Koji, because nothing has been proven.
I don't know why you keep pushing this line before Mr. Sherry comes. This gentleman is on tape. We have clips of him issuing out threats. He threatened.
Right. Those could be empty threats. Those could be freedom of expression, right?
No, but
we have a justice system. Right?
Anyway, Mr. Sherry, go ahead.
Yeah, we have a justice system here that has not held him accountable.
It's the authority.
But there is the point we're making. The system has proven itself incapable of handling these cases.
And so why can't America hold the system responsible instead of going to...
Well, the Solicitor General is part of the legal system. He has been sanctioned.
Mr. Sharif. And Mr. Sharif, also tell me to what end, what does the country benefit from this? Or is this all talk?
Let me start off by saying that for the last 6 years or 5 years and plus, I have been a vociferous critic of Jefferson Koji. Jefferson Koji is this. I was told that Jefferson Koji is the son of Fire Koji, who was my PE teacher at the University of Liberia. So he comes from, at least from the father's side now that I know of, a family that's educated and should know better. But this young man is a symptom of what's wrong with the Liberian social political system under George Weah. You have young men like Jefferson Koji and others. He's not alone. You have, Weah has been able to use these guys, folks in their 40s and 50s, and in some instances, thinking juvenile and very violent. Some are sponsored in the United States. We see this all over the place. Jefferson Koji, here we'll talk about him. He is the city mayor of the largest city in the Republic of Liberia. And I will argue the most important city in the Republic of Liberia. This is on whose shoulders that the city the city is placed. So what a joke, you know. So you have for the last 5 years and plus this young man, or you can even go back beyond that, who has been terrorizing his own people. He has been, you know, he's in clips and so on and so forth. He's called the urban gorilla. So that's the city mayor of the city of Monrovia who's boasting around, and the people call him an urban gorilla. Listen, Dennis, there was an interview that Anthony had with Walter Sisulu, civilly, the leader of the Liberian Student Unification Party at the University of Liberia, who was brutalized in front of law enforcement. And we were told, it is alleged that Jefferson Koji is behind this group, and this group was never prosecuted. We don't know what happened to that group. Jefferson Koji, after these elections, when the results were announced, Jefferson Koji began to issue threats and so on and so forth. Jefferson Koji has been linked with many things. So here is the United States government saying to the Liberian government, you know, we're going to sanction this person. I agree with Morris. You know, he said something very profound. Why is it that we have to wait for foreign governments to do for us what we can do for ourselves? It speaks to the incompetence of the Liberian government, the outgoing government. It speaks to the insensitivity of the outgoing government. And so what we're all yearning for now is a new day where these things will never happen again. We're yearning for a new day where Jefferson Koji and others will be prosecuted under and given due process of law under the new administration. We're yearning for a period where we will never see the likes of Jefferson Koji, you know, in the Liberian, in the halls of power, you know, as high as City Hall. Can you imagine this? Can you imagine this city mayor?
Mr. Sharif, incompetence should not be equated to those things that they are accusing him of.
Those things that they are accusing him of, which we have, you know, we've said these all along on the on these shows, on the various shows that we have. It was very troubling to see Jefferson Koji at the helm of City Hall. For me, it wasn't a comfortable, you know, thing for me that, you know, Jefferson Koji, first of all, I don't think that he is intellectually equipped to hold down that job. He is not. He does not have the intellectual capacity to hold down a job like you know, the mayor of Monrovia. And you add violence to that resume. You add the way that, you know, he carried himself. You know, he's speaking now like he is the president he is the outgoing president. After the election, he has been issuing threats. And so these are very dangerous signs if nothing is done by the Liberian government. You're right, Justice Minister. The government itself, the entire government should be held responsible for this, not just Jefferson Koji.
Thank you. Mr. Blamo, please, or you know how to fix your camera up, so please have it in landscape view. That's all right. Let me go to Telvi. So Telvina, what do you think is the end goal here? Because we have the U.S. government going after other people before Jefferson Koji, and so far, you know, nothing has happened. So what do you think the U.S. is after this time? Unmute yourself, please.
Well, primarily, when they put you on the OFAC list, like they mentioned in the release, it's intended to change the behavior. You know, I heard somebody saying that America needs to do the due diligence, or they need the body of proof is on America. America has already done the due diligence. They will not put you on a sanction list if they haven't put all the facts together. They have been monitoring Koji for a while, his activities, including his financial activities. They don't put people on OFAC lists just like that. You know, I used to look at those lists when doing some audits and doing some investigations. They don't just put you, they put countries there, they put persons there. They don't just put you there like that. You must have done something. They have monitored you, they have all the evidence, because they don't want anybody to take them to court. So the end game is to change the behavior, and also to put this person, you know, coach or whoever else, put it on so the world can know that one, they're, you know, they're in bad business, for lack of better words. They're in bad business. Nobody should do business with them. And if you do business with them or interact with them or whatever it is, you put yourself at risk. And nobody wants to get in trouble with America. So the end goal is to change their behavior, but also to discourage other people from doing, you know, transaction with coaching, whatever transaction, that he's a bad person. He needs to be behind bars. He needs to be tried and behind bars. And the whole fact have they have the potential to put you behind bars. I think up to 30 years or even longer, depending on your crime. So the end, this is not Koji, and he has more to carry with this whole fact and other things.
Thank you. Let me go to Mr. Jab Blamo if his connection from Red Light is anything we can rely on here. So, all right, Mr. Blamo, what do you make of the Koji story? Today he's being designated on the OFAC list for corruption and human rights abuses. And what do you expect from the incoming government? Because what we saw from the WIA government is those people that were designated, I mean, the best he could do is to fire them, but then they came right back and he supported them to run for legislative seats, and they won, probably with money too. So what do you make of this one, Mr. Blamo?
He's frozen.
Yeah. He's on mute also.
All right. Mr. Blamo, if you just give me a call if you get your system fixed. Mr. Kroman, what do we expect from the incoming Boakai government? Because we want to break from the past.
I think there is, there's enormous pressure that is on the new government to do right by the people. I think this is, in my opinion, and I've said this, I think on one of my social media posts, that this is the third term for Liberia. We have another opportunity to reset and do things right by the people. I've seen lately a lot of, sort of rambling between the UP and some of the alliances, members of the alliance, and this idea that everybody feeling entitled to distribute opportunities between the different organizations that help to propel the UP victory. And I indicated that for me, the unsung heroes of this campaign are the people that are in the remotest part of Liberia who, for one reason or another, didn't believe that the country was going the right direction, and they were using their meager resources to convince their friends to say, let's vote out this government. The pimping riders, the keke riders, those people who DMB have never met, JKK have never met them before, but
that connection.
It's frozen. All right. Thank you. Now we're going to enter our main points for the day, and I want us to be very brief because we have many questions to answer here. So let's be very brief, not more than 2 minutes if you have the floor. The first question here is, should President-elect Boakai be chilling with Stanton Witherspoon convicted of U.S. federal crimes? That's the question many people are asking, and so I thought to bring this up on Friday night debate so we can attempt to answer. So pictures were going around of Mr. Witherspoon, what many call chilling with with the president-elect? Take a look.
Wow, Miss Obola gay the pocket. No, she we're gonna make it.
That's a still photo.
Okay.
So let me start with Mr. Freeman. The question here is, should the president-elect be chilling with someone convicted of crimes and possibly going to jail in a month's time?
So my short answer will be no.
And why?
No, because of the news. One, the news that broke today. No, because of everything that we know the United States government is capable of doing. No, because Stanton, I'll say someone who and I are from the same community, Newtown, has been indicted. He has been charged, rather. He's a convicted felon. So President-elect Joseph Boakai should know better. That's all I would say. And I would say that was a blunder for him and his team. And Stanton too should have known better to not, I know he's been a help to the campaign and all of that. That's great, that's fine. But hey, we all know, you know what's up. Everybody know what's going on. Why put yourself in that situation? Why should Boycott put himself in that situation? Now, if the United States government starts to question his campaign finances, some of us will start making all kinds of statements. And we'll start to say all kinds of things. They'll be right because it's out there. He raised money. And it's also out. He raised money for boycott campaign. It's out there, that Joseph Boycott accepted this money. Costa said this thing. It's all out there. The transfers are all out there. So he shouldn't be doing it. Because his government is an opportunity to do the right things, to turn things around. Not just going against those folks that were sanctioned or that were part of the WEA government, or going as back as Ellen government to do the right thing. So he shouldn't have been doing it in the first place.
Thank you. Tavina, it's open secret that Stanton Witherspoon claimed that he supported the Boakai campaign. Is he trying to cash out now?
I mean, apparently he boasts them. I mean, I don't watch them as often, but every now and then I get this in the stream, and there's no telling, Stanton boasts about. I talked to the president today, President-elect Boyka, and I talked to Jojo, and I talked to, all the big shots out there. So obviously, he's cashing out. I mean, and also everybody knows that his money is involved, his time is involved, his voice, he put a lot of voice in bringing this whole Unity Party campaign to where it is. And so now, obviously, he's cashing out. And I'm hearing that he has some demands, subject to verification. He's put some demands out there too. Not to work in government, but to have some influential roles. So we'll see how that goes.
Mr. Krumah, you supported Mr. Boakai for the presidency. You've been very supportive. Should he be chilling with Mr. Witherspoon?
My answer is no, he should not. I think these are the things that sort of, the optics is just bad. It's there's a negative optics about the whole imagery and how the UP people need to really, really put some serious structure around the president-elect. He is the president-elect of the country. I don't think he should have even been in any living room for that matter. Whether his family member or friend, he should not be in any living room. He should be sitting in a nice 5-star hotel that has a whole suite where everybody that wants to meet you come to him and he sit and have meetings with them. That way you control who carry phones, who do recording, and you have all your professional conversations there and they can leave and everything is okay. Unfortunately, it happened the way it happened. People want credit. People want social media attention. People love to see people saying, well, you know, I see you are with the president-elect. They want credit and they want to cash out. So I think there'll be more of that if the structure is not built around the OMA. I support that GMB, yes, but I'm also a very critical voice. I don't, you know, I don't know how to, you know, just give justification for failure. This is complete, you know, embarrassing. Should not have happened.
And why you think this has happened? And how much
I think
Baka had to do with it?
I think it happened because there was no structure, no, you know, the president-elect movement should have been choreographed and well planned out. You go in here, you're having this conversation, you're meeting this person. All of that should have been planned out even before he left Liberia. I don't think those things happen. And so it's
Joseph Boga didn't know that he had to meet Stanton.
No, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying even if he was meeting Stanton, it should have been choreographed in a way that he's not going to Stanton's living room to go and have.
So he child man, he doesn't have good judgment.
No, so I'm saying.
Morris, go ahead.
No, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay to have that conversation. What I'm saying is when you get to
I don't get it.
Just hear me out. You can disagree. Just hear me out.
Go ahead.
Yeah. So when you get to the position of president-elect, you are no longer standard bearer. You are president-elect of an entire country. And so at that point, there has to be some sort of structure around the way that you move around. You are not moving around like a standard bearer anymore. You are not just representing a political party. You are representing a cross-section of the entire country. And so at that point, the things that you did in a more flexible way, those things don't happen anymore. Even there are times where security tell you, no, you're not going to that place there. We will not. I mean, you already know the January 6th with Trump when he was demanding that he wants to go to the Capitol and the security, imagine the security telling you, no, Mr. President, we're not going over there. That is the kind of structure that should have been placed around the president-elect to say, these places, we're avoiding them. This is where your meeting will, I know you want to meet Stanton. This is where that meeting will happen. And that meeting happened there because you are protecting some of the things that came out of this meeting. I don't think they would have had the chance to do video recording and do still photos and all that stuff and put it on social media as it came out. If we were much control. Unfortunately, it did not happen. And it's not about adult or young. It's just about controlling the environment around the president-elect.
Thank you. Mr. Sharif, this is not happening in a vacuum, right? During the campaign, it was reported, and Mr. Bwaka did not refute that he would dance with the devil. When I interviewed Madam Mandela Cooper, he said, we can even kiss the frog to get elected, right? And now we've seen, will this be and when we saw what happened, the fallout with Henry Costa, even though Henry Costa had literally insulted him and he welcomed him in his, inner circle. We saw how people would just flip from one side to the other side and he will take them in and really be very close to him. So what has happened in those pictures, this is nothing in a vacuum. Are we seeing a pattern here that Mr. Bwaka is maybe letting the guard down all the time, or he has issues maybe with judgment?
I will answer that in two ways. So I'll answer it with a question first. So what do you suppose Mr. Bwaka is supposed to do when you have Mr. Bwaka's victory coming as a result of a coalition with Prince Johnson? We all know Prince Johnson's history of atrocities and whatnot. So that is what you have to look at first. So if that wasn't taken seriously, and I'm not here any time right now to litigate. I have said on other shows to litigate what Prince Johnson has done. We have other shows that we will do that, and we have done that in the past, and we will do that on other shows. But politically, the vice president has made a calculation.
The president,
I'm sorry. the president-elect has made a calculation that I'm going to bring all these people on board. And these are the people that are going to make me president. I am going to win, not just with the good people, but I'm going to win with the bad people as well. This president-elect is very conscious of what he's doing. So I don't think people give him much credit. He's very conscious. He knows exactly what he's doing. He knows Stanton Witherspoon. He knows what is going on. He reads. He understands. He's very educated. He is a long-term public servant, so he understands what is going on. So, you know, if he did that, if he danced with Prince Johnson, what is preventing him from dancing with Stanton Witherspoon? You know, dancing, I'm saying dancing, you know, metaphorically speaking. So this is the kind of thing that you have to understand. So that's where we have to unpack this whole debate first. We have to look at that. So when you solve that problem back home, where the coalition wasn't just the coalition of the good people, it was also the coalition of the very bad people among us. And there's no denying that Stanton Witherspoon played a very critical role in this election on behalf of the Unity Party. So when Mr. Boyka was coming to the United States, so he is aware that, you know, one Stanton Witherspoon is going to go out there and try to meet you and do photo ops. Family says something profound, again, because, you know, if I'm the president, you know, my movement will be choreographed. It will not be, you know, it would not be disconcerted in this manner where everybody is going in taking pictures and putting them on Facebook, you know. But then again, I'm not. That's the reason why I'm not president. You know, that's the reason why some of us are, you know, are not electable, right? And some are electable, because the Liberian people, I don't think people are going to bed tonight thinking about, you know, was he standing, was he now? I don't think the Liberian people are going.
Mr. Sharia is the thing, right? Because that was campaign, that was then, right? Now that he's president, how many bad people or very bad people, if I will borrow from you, is he still going to be meeting?
I think a lot. I think a lot. It's going to meet with a lot of them. His nature is, you know, this father or grandfather figure. You know, I have many children and some of them are bad. So he's going to bring all these people towards him. He's not going to drive any of these people Dennis to our chagrin. You know, these people are going to come to him and he's going to accept them.
Do you think they're going to influence anything, or he's going to be so iron-proof that that won't affect his presidency?
You heard Telvi said that, you know, she heard, you know, Witherspoon have put some things on the table, and I don't doubt that people, this is the time, you know, the cake, right now the cake is out of the oven, right? You know, so the cake is really hot right now. So it's time to go around the table, wherever that cake is sitting, to get your share of the cake. So I'm not surprised that, I won't be surprised that is going on. So yes, these people in some way, shape or form, that is going to be an influence. So you asked a question, Dennis, what should we be looking for? I think yesterday you asked that question on the other show. What signs should we be looking for? These are the kind of signs that people should be looking for, and these are going to happen quite a bit.
Thank you, Mrs. Moba. What does this tell us? You know, if first of all, the question is, should he be chilling with Mr. Witherspoon, and what is the impact on his administration if he's doing this kind of thing? If you can, hold on. If you can unmute yourself, please. Yeah, go ahead.
First of all, I'm looking at it from a different angle. All right. President Boakai, or President-elect Boakai, is looking at Stanton as his grandson, who did some bad things over here. You know, but that's what I'm saying. He did some bad things over here, and he's gonna get punished for that. He's gonna serve his time. No, you know, you already paid some of his fines for that. But President Boakai, as a grandfather who came to the States, he had to see all his children. It's not about, whether the person is a convict or what. I know, the pictures going out there shouldn't have been there. All right. I don't see anything wrong with him talking with Stanton or meeting him as a grandson. But I have no problem with people taking photos. I don't know whether it's Stanton that took these photos, but it was not proper. It was not appropriate. You could have sat down with President Boakai and just talk whatever they needed to talk and then just leave. But it wasn't done like that. Apparently, somebody was trying to show off, which was not necessary. But Boakai, he danced with the devil, all right? Without Prince Johnson, it would have been very difficult for President Boakai to be elected. All right. So those people, they got followers as well. Prince Johnson got almost a whole Niba, supporting whatever he wants. So if you say because a person is bad, I'm not going to be dealing with them, you cutting off a lot of people. Stanton, no doubt, got a lot of followers, and he influenced the election in a positive way for the president-elect. He is grateful to Stanton for whatever support financially or whatever. Even though when he was receiving the financial support, I'm assuming he didn't know the source of the money. All right. But later on he got to know. But as far as appreciating Stanton for his role in the election, I don't see anything wrong with that. But I wouldn't have problem with whoever let the pictures out there. Or they shouldn't have taken the pictures in the first place. But there's nothing wrong with the grandfather.
If the grandfather is supposed to meet with all the children, why he didn't meet with me?
Dennis, this is Freeman. Can I come in?
Yeah, hold on 1 second. Why? Why Stanton? Why not me? Why not you?
Well, everybody play different roles. Okay? The role you play, maybe it was not that significant compared to the kind of effort that Stanton put in. So very few people he has to really meet with.
The source of the money, we know that was corrupt money that went into his campaign.
Right? Yeah, but he didn't know at the time that the money was corrupt.
Dennis,
he did not know that.
For a fact. Dennis, you know that for a fact.
Dennis, can I come in?
You're speaking emphatically. Do you know that for a fact?
What? Some of the money, obviously, Stanton was coming from crimes against America.
But at the time he was receiving the money, Stanton was not indicted.
Yeah, now that he knows.
That's what I say. He probably did not know at the time.
Yeah, so now that he knows, what should he be doing?
Now that he knows, he wouldn't come in to show gratitude for whatever help he got in the past, because that help made him to cross the line.
All right. Flomo, you had a question?
No, I don't have a question. I have a comment. We got to be serious.
Go ahead.
We got to be serious here. We're talking about national leadership. The president-elect did not leave Liberia to come to the United States on a family trip. He came as a president-elect. He's the next person, he's the next person. He's going to be the next president of Liberia. The United States government is watching every single move. So there is no excuse, absolutely no excuse. If we're going to sit and talk about it is right what the United States government is doing, what the United States government did by putting sanctions on all these folks, including Kochi, we should also say it loud. Whether we belongs to Unity Party or we belongs to the CDC or whatever party, we should speak for Liberia. He didn't come here on a family trip. He should have known better. His security team should have known better. And I think they should just learn from this. They should just learn from this. And Stanton should just learn from it. Like the other gentleman said, if he's going to have conversations with key officials, he should just know how to do it. Because it's not only going to flag him more, it's going to flag those officials, and it's going to flag Liberia more as well. I just want to make that clear.
Thank you. Mr. Nambre, based on what we've seen so far, does Mr. Boakai understand the enormity of the office of President of Liberia? He's chilling.
I mean, he ran for the office. He was vice president for 12 years. So I think he fully understands the enormity of the office that he's about to occupy. But you know, a number of us have said this, and when we say so, we are quickly categorized as detractors, and you know, but this president elect, he continues to demonstrate bad judgment, and he's supposed to be the wise old man on this, on you know, on the stage, but he continues to demonstrate thoughtless behavior. You know, right now Henry Costa is on the losing end, and so of course all of us will castigate him. But Costa said it, you know, that this president elect will follow the dollar sign wherever it takes him, even if it takes him in the basement of an individual. Never mind Stanton Witherspoon. But the fact that the president of a country will come to the States on an international visit and
Because
he's
he's not the
shocking.
president yet. He's not the president. I mean,
Yeah, he's the president elect. I mean, how far is he from being the president?
yeah, he's not the president yet.
But he is the president elect.
Yeah, but
So,
he's not the president.
but he needs to behave as a president elect and not as he's not a private citizen anymore. You know, how does he come to shack up with an individual? I mean, who is providing security for this man? You know, Kev Hassan had said that Stanton was angry with Weah because there are things that he wanted out of the government of President Weah that he didn't give him. Who knows what this vice president is already selling to Stanton Witherspoon? It is really concerning. And Mr. Croman had it right. Why couldn't he just go to a little hotel? You know, get a little suite or whatever it is. It probably cost him $250, $300, whatever it is. You know? But why would he go to put up with an individual? And so, of course, Stanton is exploiting the whole thing. You know, he's making a lot of press out of it because that's what he wanted. That's what he wanted. So he's gaming our president-elect, and our president-elect is a willing collaborator in the scheme already, even before he takes office. I'm baffled by this. Almost every move he makes is questionable. I don't know how much thought he puts into his actions. And there are very good people around this president-elect. So I'm really shocked. I am shocked.
I would love to say
with
something.
the character of Mr. Witherspoon right now.
Tabina, before you.
As much as I'm concerned with just this president-elect taking himself to go in the private residence and put up with a private, you know, I don't understand it. It doesn't really. I don't understand it.
GMB and sun washing again.
Okay, Joe.
Look at that.
What's the thing? What's the school? 2-0. Aslo. At 43 minutes. Wow. But how do you call it the station so fast? It was there, I didn't know. Your team winning? Yeah. Of course. 2-0. I didn't know you were Arsenal. Which one?
National security concern, Tabi?
National security concern, a lot of concerns, judgmental concerns, analytical skills, the decision-making concerns for me. I'm very concerned about that. You know, Mr. Shabby took it out of my mouth when he said Mr. Baga is being grandpa. He's just being a typical grandpa, but truth be told, he's not a grandpa anymore. He's president-elect, and he has to behave accordingly. You cannot, whether it's on your grandchild or grandpa, whatever it is, you're no longer grandpa in that instance. You know, it's not only about optics. For me, I look at the place of decision making. I look at it ethically. Why are you hanging out with somebody who America said, you know, you defraud the American government in so many ways? And then how are we going to trust you to even make good decisions in your leadership team? How are we going to trust you to make good decisions to even prosecute people who would do the wrong thing in the government? If you are hanging with the Prince Johnson and, you know, everybody else, you know, Stanton, everybody, you know, I'm confused. You know, not only confused, but the judgment and the decisions, but I have low expectations, quite honestly, after seeing all of this. The bar is very low.
So,
Dennis,
Morris,
can I jump in quickly?
yeah, Morris, before you come in, let me add, there's a reason why at your job, they don't want you to take gift from your client above maybe $11 or $22.
$50 for stay in federal government. I know we got on that rule.
Right. Because when you eat my rice, you got to dance my song.
Absolutely.
What do you
go
think?
for us.
So Dennis, here's how I want to put this. Because I mean, I have when I presented, I talk about the optics. The optics is bad. There's nothing wrong with JMB meeting Stanton. Absolutely nothing wrong with it. What is wrong with the output of what made it to social media? That is what is wrong.
What would it be wrong?
Please give me a chance, because I really want to break down this thing, because it's
important. When you say it's not wrong to meet Stanton, but it's wrong to meet
nothing wrong.
What's about El Chapo? What's about other, maybe human rights abusers? Would it matter?
Please ask the question again. I didn't understand you. You're breaking. Say that again.
No, I said, is it a crime that makes the difference? Let's say, what if that was a human rights abuser? What if that was a mass murderer, convicted of mass murder? Or is it a crime that makes the difference?
So when JMB, whether he's president or president-elect, he has the ability to meet Liberians, right? Assuming you meet a murderer, a Liberian that is Prince Johnson, for example, that JMB doesn't know about because he's a Liberian. JMB is in a particular space and he comes there. He can't say, I cannot meet this person because the person is a murderer. He's a Liberian. You are president of Liberia. You're president for the men, the women, the criminal, the boy, the child. You're president for everyone. Just hear me out, please. It's important.
Yeah.
JMB meeting Stanton, nothing wrong with it. The way the message came out from their meeting to social media, that is what is wrong with the process. But he could have met Stanton and they had a conversation and they go their separate ways. They could have, done whatever they had to do. The problem that I have is the way that someone like Stanton or someone, whoever in that space, took that information and put it on social media as though he is just a common person. He is the president-elect. And so if you don't have protocols around someone who is the president-elect or the president, there's no wrong decision-making here. I hear, Victor and Tevi talking about decision-making. There's nothing wrong with meeting Stanton. There's nothing wrong with
I'll tell you what's wrong with it.
The fact that he can even take money from Stanton.
No, first of all,
when you guys spoke, I gave you a chance.
If Stanton has gone to see Boakai, I might listen to you a little bit.
You could have given me
Boakai leaving.
Victor, when you spoke, I gave.
Are you telling me there's nothing wrong with that?
You and Tevi spoke, I didn't break you guys up.
Yeah, but just injecting Mr. Kroman.
So my point I'm making here is that you can't say because he met Stanton, then there is decision making. There's a flaw.
What is the point of the meeting? It's like an everyday conversation.
It's not
He's
meeting.
constantly talking to Stanton. Stanton is influencing his decisions in Liberia because Stanton marketing close. I know the gentleman. He marketing close. So anything they talk, he will bring on his show. I talked to the president today. I talked to Jojo. I talked to this. I blah 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 blah. So it's not only a meeting. That constant communication, in addition to taking his money, knowing that he defrauded so many Americans in this country. That for me, that's what the poor decision and the poor ethical behavior come into play.
So Tevi, there are some assumptions that you're making. You're making
no
assumptions
assumption. It's coming from Stanton mouth. When he talked to Waka, he bring on his show. Stanton,
I want to say assumption. You don't even know what I want to say, but you say keep us Stanton mouth. Don't give us Stanton mouth. I didn't say what I want to say.
The next question.
Keep us Stanton mouth.
We got a point, Mr. Kroman. Let me let Mohammed kind of chime in, and then we put Mohammed 1 minute.
Yeah. So as I said,
do you agree that it's okay to meet Stanton and anybody, as Mr. Kroman is saying?
No, when you put it that way, no, it's not okay to meet with anybody. I mean, we have talked about this on our platform ad nauseum. I mean, heck, I was against these unholy alliances that they were forming around here, the likes of coalition with Prince Johnson, coalition with remnants of the MPFL, coalition that CDC formed with the MPP. I was against those kinds of coalitions to start off. So no, it is not a good thing for me, who believe in political purity. But we have to also keep in mind that Joseph Boakai is a politician who understood that he's not going to win with just us, the good people. You got to mix it up. So that's what he's doing. And Dennis, your question that you return to, and the answer I'm going to give is that yes, you're going to see this often. You're going to see this to our disappointment. The good people, those who call ourselves good people, you're going to see this over and over and again.
And do you think that will influence his decision in any way?
I think that the more you persist, in the political realm, the more you persist, you never know. There are a lot of people out there. It has already done some influence, right? So you have the MDR. The MDR has tremendous influence. The MDR, what do you think the MDR is going to do? They're going to bring their list. They're going to bring their people. And some of the people that Johnson is going to bring are maybe people who have committed excesses in Liberia. So Stanton also probably has his list. I don't know who is on his list. I mean, everybody is going to come up with their own list here, there, and yonder. So,
if Stanton was in Liberia, we probably expect clemency from the president, maybe. But let's move on to our next. We have many questions here. In 2005, Prince Johnson supported. The question is Prince Johnson the godfather? We're using the godfather in context, right? That he holds sway over Nimba, and wherever he points, that's where Nimba vote will go, and all that sort of thing. So is Prince Johnson the godfather of Nimba County? Let me be the first to say in 2005, Prince Johnson went with Mr. Weah. He did not win. 2017, Prince Johnson went with President. 2011, Prince Johnson went with President Sirleaf and she won. Basically, there was almost technically there was no second round because Weah withdrew, or the CDC withdrew from it. Okay, so 2017, and we see that. I also want to mention that there have been times Prince Johnson supported local candidates and they did not win. In 2023, we saw that Prince Johnson went with Boakai and Boakai won. So many people are saying now this cement his godfathership of Nimba County. Mr. Kroma, you are from Nimba. Is Prince Johnson the godfather of Nimba?
I mean, just before I get to that point, I just want to still argue with Brother Sharif and tell you a little bit about this JMB and Stanton thing. I will come to the Prince Johnson part. There's no political system that does not mirror the image of the country's population. If you look at, Prince Johnson has been elected 3 times from Nimba County, for example, and you guys are here making a moral argument that JMB cannot engage with somebody like Prince Johnson or somebody like Stanton because they committed crimes. However, you still have in the great United States here where you have people the same idea, where people reach across the aisle to people who are notorious, not famous, but notorious, because they won't get sway from that particular population. So I can't understand why, somehow you think that because the man is president-elect, he shouldn't have meetings with, people who supported him with their resources, whatever they have, to get the person over the hump. There are different ways that people do it. But, I guess the optics, like I said, was bad. On the PYJ side, I honestly think Prince Johnson has a stronger hold over Nimba County, and it hurts because Nimba has some of the brightest Liberians, most educated people that we can find in Liberia. But somehow, Prince Johnson have managed to wrap his hand around this county where these people have caved into him and say, okay, this guy's the godfather. Whatever you say, we have to follow. And if we don't follow that, we become ostracized in the entire process of the county. Obviously, the ethnic group that PYJ comes from is the majority group in the county. But the idea that the other minority groups have not been able to put themselves together in a block to say, okay, if you think that because you are majority, let's take these small minority groups and let's form ourselves in a block and compete with him. They have not been able to do that. I don't know if it's out of intimidation or it's out of fear, I don't know. But somehow, these people, the man has had a sway on them, and it's beginning to show. The Musa Belete election maybe is seemed to be something that we can look at as an example to say, well, maybe there are more people who are not paying attention anymore to Prince Johnson because he actually campaigned against Belete. Belete is a Madingo man, and this man wins in that district, even though he spent a lot of resources there to win. But it could be a litmus test to say maybe we need to test Prince Johnson's popularity now in Nima County.
And that's why I brought it up so that we can discuss it, because on the surface it may seem that he's the godfather, but if you look at the local politics, why is it that some of the local candidates he's supporting, they've not been winning? All right. So, Mr. Madam Moba, is it that Prince Johnson know how to take side to go on the right side? Because on the national level, he's siding with people that are winning, but on the local level, that's a different case. Yeah, you can
you
go
keep
ahead.
muting me.
No,
Okay.
there's a feedback from your background. So if you are not talking anytime, you're not talking, please unmute yourself.
Well, Prince Johnson, it might not be consistent. He might not consistently have people winning that he support, but in some of the major elections, take for instance, you got Jeremiah Coon. He had won more than twice in his county. All right, Prince Johnson also supported Madame Salih, and she won. That was major. She was the first female.
Is it because she supported him? Which one happened first?
Well, he talked to his people, and the issues that he campaigning on, those are issues that the people support as well. So during this election, he had problem that there was some finance that was supposed to be given to Nimba County, and that money was not given. He had that against the president, and the people felt like their development was kind of in jeopardy because that money was not going forth. So the way he campaigns convinced the people, and they decided to follow him. So it depends on the issues upon which Prince Johnson campaign, and the people are kind of gravitating towards him based on that. They will follow him. So Prince Johnson, whether we like it or not, I think he kind of plays a godfather role in Niba County.
So yeah, he has influence, but the way you are saying it is like 100% are with him, which is not the case, right?
Well, I'm not saying 100%. I know some of the time he doesn't. Not everybody he supports can win, but in most instances, especially critical elections like the one that just passed and the one that brought Madame Salif to power, I think those were critical elections. And for him to convince his people to really follow him means that he got some kind of grip on the county.
Thank you, Mr. Nabe. Sometimes we look at him in a very simplistic manner because there are other factors playing here, right? So, what do you think? Prince Johnson, godfather of Nima?
I mean, undoubtedly, I think Senator Johnson, whatever we like it or not, I think he is turning out to be a kingmaker and godfather of Nimba, for that matter. I know you had said that in 2005, he supported, I think, someone and they didn't win, but that would make him 3-0. I mean, 3-1. Statistically, I think that is significant because in 2011 he supported Madame Sirleaf. She won. In 2017 he supported President Weah. He won. And now this time around he supported Ambassador Boakai and he won. So there is a consistent in recent past. I mean, 3 elections in a row. He has helped the winning party tip the balance. So in that sense, and especially the public feud between he and the CDC people. I mean, the marriage kind of broke up, and there was a public feud going on between the two of them, and so it was bit more or less a defiance of the CDC to see whether they couldn't win without him, and look where they are today. So yeah, I think unfortunately, as Mr. Kroman said, he seems to have Nimba in his grave. It seems
Right.
wherever he goes, so does Nimba. Unfortunately,
Or good
because
portion of Nimba, not Nimba per se, because the people, Mr. Flomo, he supported a candidate against Tai Wangwei. Tai Wangwei won as independent. He did not support Musa Bilete. Musa Bilete won, right? So the people that he's picking and supporting locally in the county, they are not winning. But on the national level, is it that he just know how to pick the winning side based on whatever they give, and they are reports that they are giving him money. Is it a godfather?
I would say, I don't know much about Musa
How do you
Bilete.
mute yourself when you are not speaking?
Can you hear me? Can you guys hear
Yeah.
me? I'm hearing a noise in the background.
All
So
right.
I don't know much about Musa Belede campaign, but at least I know some things about Tao One-Way campaign. I think Tao ran a very smart campaign. He did the Jehovah Witness campaign, and this is not his first time running. So, and he was very much respectful when it comes to Prince Johnson, especially this election, this going election that he won. They have the people in our people, we Liberians, we vote differently. I was in Liberia in October and I was there in April. So I'll use District 60 in my district as an example. The people will tell you that I'm voting for the representative, I'm voting for the senator, I'm voting for Sir Joseph, but I'm not voting for Joshua. Or I'm voting for JMB, but I'm not voting for the representative, and I'm voting for Sir Joseph, or I'm not voting for Sir Joseph. So we call that in our terminology, we say ball bounce system change. 3-1, Prince Johnson is leading. He's leading. The man has not only proven to be the godfather of Nimba, but he has proven to be the godfather of Liberian politics, hands down. Hands down. If CDC have given, Prince Johnson never wanted to leave CDC. He never wanted to leave that alliance, a coalition. Whether it was 2 million or 7 million, if the party or the coalition was just going to give Prince Johnson half of that amount or that amount, but now George Weah is president. Prince Johnson was going to campaign for George Weah. Jeremiah Kuhn wouldn't have been vice president. But the man did not want to deliver Nimba County to Unity Party, but he also created, should I say created, a vice president, his son. So how can men like that, with all that achievement, and he's going 27 years as senator, how can men like that not be looked at as the godfather of Nimba or the godfather of Liberian politics? He has proven it, hands down.
Mr. Sharif, besides
Thank you.
Tubman, Johnson is the only one going 27 years.
Yeah, so that means that, as the previous speaker said, he's a very strong force in the Liberian political environment, certainly in Nimba County, where he hails from where he hails. Prince Johnson, regardless of what's happening with the local candidates, but he's been able, especially in this particular election, he was a real force. And because of his desertion of the CDC and picking the Unity Party over the CDC, that made a tremendous difference on behalf of the Unity Party. So for that reason, I would say that he's a real force in Nimba County, to put it mildly. I mean, my friend Gonglo then can't get from underneath him. I don't know where my friend Gonglo is now. You know, Calabo Gonglo has even disappeared from FOL. I mean, that's how that's how much damage Prince Johnson has done to them. So yes, he is a force to contend with, and he's going to continue to be a force, although he's in his 70s now. But he's going to continue to be a force for the next decade or so.
Tabi?
I think. Oh,
I think everybody said it. I mean, Pete Johnson is very influential. Yes, he is. What the word to use? He's the Godfather. I mean, there's no telling he is the Godfather. Otherwise, I mean, obviously, TDC won't be chasing him and fighting him and everything else. We can't compare it, to he didn't support Musa, he won. Obviously, he has to pick his battles. What is the greatest area of focus to take Unity Party to the mansion? So I'm sure that was his primary focus, and he delivered on that. So I think, amongst other things that he done with the Ellen government and other things. So I think he is a godfather, and he will remain a godfather. I mean, the people love him. Obviously, his people love him. They support him. They support his actions, and so I don't think there's a replacement for him.
yeah,
Morris,
Dennis,
quickly, so
the
we can
one thing
move
I
on.
want to chip in here a little bit.
Yeah.
I think his
So Morris, as a
popularity.
Lima citizen, are you throwing the tower to Prince Johnson?
Huh?
You surrender?
Who, me?
Yeah.
I mean,
Are you tapping out?
to be very honest with you, Dennis, I don't have any emotional attachment to Nima County. To be very honest, since the war, I go there. I barely spend a night there. I leave and come back to Monrovia. I'm not emotionally attached as much as my parents were. My mother is still alive, but I think his popularity is diminishing to some extent, though. I mean, a young man ran against him in this recent election, and he was able to mobilize over 50,000, 55,000 votes against PYJ in Nimba County. To me, that says a lot about, one, the individual that was running against him. Two, the people with the fortitude to say, okay, I don't want Prince Johnson, I want someone else. That number increased significantly. I think this is the largest number of people voting against Prince Johnson since he's been running for the senatorial seat. So, to some extent, it means that either the amount of people decided that they will not support him overwhelmingly, or there were people who actually decided somehow that they didn't like his leadership, and even regardless of the ethnicity that they came from, they voted against him. I think, but by and large, like you said, Ty also ran as an independent, and he won, even though PYJ campaigned for someone else. Musa Belete, he went to Musa Belete district, campaigned against Belete, and somehow still Belete was able to win the elections. The last 2017 election, only two representatives that Prince Johnson campaigned for won. I think it was only one or two in the entire representative election and senatorial election in Nimba. So
I think one.
Gradually, I think there was some kind of diminishing of his popularity. That is, maybe it's his age. I don't know. Maybe people are getting wiser. I don't know, but
yeah, and that's
I
why
love to call the stats.
I think that when you actually drill down the numbers and don't look at things, in a very simplistic manner, Prince Johnson is not the godfather of Nimba, and that's my opinion. But let's move on to the next. Joseph Newman Boakai Sr. has a son, the Joseph Boakai Jr. Should he hold top-level position in his father's government? Why or why not? Let me start with Alice. I mean,
unmute me.
No, you just muted yourself again. Just unmute yourself, Alice.
No, I'm muting myself.
Yeah, it's working, but then you just unmuted, but then you all right, just muted. You're good.
Okay. My answer would be no. It will be conflict of interest. Jojo, in my view, should not be in this government in any kind of shape or form. If you want to be a business person or whatever he's doing now, he can continue to do that. But we saw that with Madame Salif children. All right. Um, they're still talking about um what is his name? No car. We still talking about no car. We still talking about the bank. All right. One of the sons went to jail. So it is not healthy for a country like Liberia where corruption is flourishing. It should not happen. It should not happen there. I think if President Boakai want to fight corruption, he should not have his son there.
What if he
That's
does?
If he does, it will be conflict of interest. Because in the first place, his son will do something and he will find it difficult to really bring him to justice the way he should fight corruption. It will be difficult because that's his son. So to avoid all of that, he should not bring his son in the government or give him any kind of top position in this government.
Mr. Number, what do you think? You can mute yourself now, Alex.
Yeah, I mean, look, if there's, I mean, I don't know the son. I don't know his, you know, his character. I don't know his competence.
That whole thing's constant that he's qualified. And he's,
if he's qualified, I think he should be given an opportunity. He's a Liberian. I think he should be given an opportunity to serve. I think we've seen it here. I mean, in the immediate past government, we know the Trump children were all over the place.
Let's talk about Salif children. Leave Trump alone. Trump is an outlier.
Thank you, Salif children as well. So yeah, I mean, I think if he's qualified for the job, I think he should be considered.
And why? Does that mean that there are no other qualified Liberians to take that same job?
Well, it is
because he has an advantage there, right? That's his father.
It is a competitive market, Dennis, and if he is found to be more qualified and the most suitable candidate for that job, yeah, he should take it. He should be considered. Of course, there will be, you know, a vetting process, I'm assuming. So yeah, if he is found to be the most competent for that job, I think he should be considered.
Thank you. Delby.
I share the can you hear me? So I share the same view. I think if the gentleman is qualified and he meets all the requisite, you know, measures they have in place, he should be given the opportunity to serve. I don't think he should be penalized because his president, his father is the president. He doesn't have to work directly in his father's office. He can work in another ministry. That's why you have segregation of duties. Somebody else can be the minister. He can be there, and he probably will have no direct access or influence on the decision. For us to even, I heard my sister say, the same thing we're having the Salif government, and Dennis, you agree with that. For us to make a blanket statement because Ellen Salif child stole, so everybody that will go in government, there's a potential for the child to steal is wrong. If my papa president, I'm not, and I go serve Liberia to GSC or, wherever they have some cybersecurity, whatever it is, I'm not going to steal. I'm going to serve because I want to serve my country. But because Ellen children not steal, the other person thought my children not steal, so that means, I will steal too, so nobody should give me joy. It's wrong. If he's a Liberian, if he's qualified, he should go through the requisite process with no influence of worker. Far from it, because of course we don't want that segregation. We don't want that. We want a complete segregation. That we don't want to influence. So Parker will remove himself and independent people take over the whole process. If the gentleman is qualified, then he'll be given the opportunity, and somebody else will be his boss. As long as he's not reporting to his father is not influencing the decision or his pay stubs or whatever it is. There's no conflict there. So
and you think that's possible? And you think that's possible?
Absolutely.
And so the next question is, let's say if Boakai have 10 children, and I'm using top level, minister, deputy, head of public corporation, those kind of things, right? So let's say if Boakai have 5 children who are extremely qualified, should they be in the government?
What now? Or 5 now? You talking to me or you asking me?
I'm still asking you.
Oh, so you wouldn't want to bring 5 of your children in the government? That's excessive. Now you gotta use good judgment. But you know, if 2 of the 5 want to come, it's 12. You know, in the government, that's fine. That's reasonable. That's why you apply reasonableness. That's reasonable. How far your children will just come in the government? You gotta give other people the opportunity to open jobs for other people too now. But 2 of them, I'm fine with that, and there's nothing wrong. Again,
But more to that, Telvi, the children are individual. They're not a cluster. So if Joe Buckeye Jr. is qualified, that doesn't mean his sister, who is also qualified, should be denied an opportunity. I think you'll be penalizing her unnecessarily. And again, if the people are qualified, Dennis, honestly, Mr. Jar, I believe they should be given the opportunity to serve. They are Liberians.
My question is, there are other equally qualified people, and because
if there are other people more qualified than them,
no, not more qualified. I'm saying equally qualified. They are Liberians too, but because your father is the president, so you have that advantage. I mean,
but Dennis, you have gone through an interview process. Even as qualified as you may be as equally qualified, but there's always that little hair that puts you above the others. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying they should be judged by their competence and qualification. If any of them is found to be more qualified than the other, they should be considered.
Thank you, Mr. Sharif. Should Jojo Buckeye serve in a top level position in his father's government? And absolutely. We are holding everything constant that he's qualified and he meet the requisites, you know.
Absolutely. Absolutely. If he's qualified for that position, you don't begin to penalize him because his father is president. It's public service. If he needs to serve his country, if he would like to serve his country, by all means, give him the opportunity. If there are other siblings who are interested in serving their country in the public sector, by all means, give them the opportunity as well to serve their country if they are qualified. See, this is the thing that I kicked against last time. I think it was a couple of years ago when people were talking about the Southeastern domination in the Weah administration. I differ, even though as a big critic of George Weah, I did say at the time that, forget about, this sort of Southeastern domination. If those Southeasterners are qualified, they are competent, by all means, they can serve their country. The problem, though, that I had with George Weah was that, a lot of the people that he put in position were not qualified, were not, I'm not going to say qualified, were not competent in those positions. So that's where I diverge. But as far as, all these different things about, family members and regional connections, I don't have a problem with that. First of all, the public sector should not be a place so enticing where we can go and make ourselves wealthy. It shouldn't be the private sector. The private sector should not be where everyone and their brothers and sisters are going to go to live lavishly. The public sector should be
Mr. Sharif, I'm not trying to compare this with affirmative action, but I know quite a number of you say penalize, right? We can't penalize, but it is non-penalty, but they are other equally qualified people. So why can't we at least, and they are being called by even Mr. Buckeye himself, say, hey, I will make sure that we have ministers from every county. So same thing. We already have you and your wife in power. So why bringing children again?
The wife was not elected president. Mr. Buckeye was elected president. This idea that he wanted to create that.
We have
the first lady.
The wife was not elected president. Mr. Buckeye was elected president. And so the other thing I guess we're going to come to there is, should we have budgets for first lady? I don't agree with that.
And we'll come to that. Let me go to Mr. Flomo before Mr. Kroman. Mr. Kroman does not like this dominance, so I know where he's going with it. I'm trying to sway what you're going to say, Mr. Kroman. That's intentional. Mr. Flomo, should Jojo Buckeye be in his father's government at a top level position?
Short answer, yes. The reason is the man is qualified, he's competent. I know that for a fact because I have friends who are friends with Joe Biden. That's one. Two, during the Ellen Johnson Sirleaf government, uh, we didn't hear or saw, we didn't hear or saw Joe Biden all over the place. Jojo, we didn't hear or saw him all over the place. No, he's a very responsible young man.
He was working in the government,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, but I know he was
Yeah.
working on maritime, but we didn't
Yeah.
hear or saw him all over the place as compared to Ellen Johnson's kids, her children. That didn't happen. I do not have any record of scanners of Joe Biden. He served at a lower position at the maritime. He continues, George, we are continue with him. When the election was coming, the young man resigned. He did the honorable thing. Now, I am a sedition. I supported George Weah, but we are speaking truth to leadership here. So I'm not going to say certain things that are wrong because I supported George Weah in this going elections. No, he's very qualified. So whether he's in position or not, he's going to be calling the shot. That's the fact. He's going to be calling the shot, and he's qualified. I think we should give him an opportunity. His father, rather, his father should give him an opportunity to serve because that is in their gene. He could be one of our top leaders tomorrow. She shouldn't be deprived. No, Georgia shouldn't be deprived. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Kroban, same question.
Yeah, I don't think he should be denied. Just for the record, just to set the record straight on the Ellen children. I know I hear a lot of references to Ellen children. Ellen has several of her kids in government. Charles Sirleaf, Ellen met Charles Sirleaf in government. He was at the central bank before Ellen became president. Just to set the record straight. Fumba Sirleaf has a long history with the security sector, even before Ellen became president. So it only makes sense to make him, NSA director. And he's not a flamboyant guy. He did serve without any controversy. He left after the thing. He's living his private life. Her other son is a medical doctor. He was coming back to Liberia back and forth. The only controversy around Ellen children was around Charles Sirleaf. Charles Sirleaf became a victim when Weah came to power and he tried to set an example. But, pretty easygoing guy who don't care too much about the power and the flares around it. I think, I like the way Freeman put it. I think, for Jojo, he's pretty much the same way. During the Ellen time when he served at Maritime as the second in command, pretty laid back. He's not, very loud. He doesn't show off. I think if he's qualified, and I'll put the if he's qualified for a position, no one should be denied the right to serve their country only because their family member is the head. I mean, it's technically considered discrimination if you actually say, okay, because Mohammed Sharif is my uncle and Mohammed Sharif is the president, so because Mohammed Sharif gave Maurice Nkrumah a job now, that means he just bring a family people into to a government job. It'll be unfair to think about it that way. But beyond that, the Constitution says the president has the right to make appointments. It doesn't. You don't have to be that you have a master's degree or because you have a PhD. The president have the right to say you're a high school graduate, but I'm putting you in this position because I'm comfortable with you. That president is extending his authority in that person to achieve his agenda, whatever that agenda is. So if the president is comfortable enough to say, I'm more comfortable with my son playing a particular role in my executive branch of government, I don't see absolutely nothing wrong with it. I think
the same way President Weah is comfortable of having all Southeasterners as cabinet minister. Nothing wrong with that.
If that's why you want to make your argument, that's okay. I mean, that's your argument. That's not mine.
No, I'm holding you because you have repeatedly said that. So I'm holding you to that.
No, but you have repeatedly said that there are people who are equally qualified. They're equally qualified. You keep emphasizing on it. Yeah. But this man is not his father. He's a Liberian. He has seen right.
But they are all Nigerians. You see, my point is they are all Nigerians that are qualified. If the father is serving, give her a chance to. We don't have many private sectors that are offering jobs in Liberia. So if you have 5 ministries and your father is the president, and then they're going to leave out other people just because you qualify like them, or because your father is at the head and he got preference to choose whoever you want to appoint, that's the point you need to look at. We're not talking about qualification right now. We're talking about a national pie that is not enough for everybody to benefit. It can't be all occupied by family, because the mother going to have an office that will have income. The father is the president, he has income. Then you want to bring son in the ministry. What happened to the rest of the people?
Then is the one thing I enjoy about you. I learn we can allow your food to them cut me while we're talking. I have to sit and wait for them to finish speaking, and it's unfair. I mean, this is like the third or fourth time now. And
why you say my people?
And when I try to explain, you cut me off and say, let's just move on. Let's just move on. Here is it. That
I asked you a question on the southeastern side, and that I was looking for the answer.
Okay, so but I was trying to say, you keep saying equally qualified. Whether southeastern or not, the point I'm making here is that you should have a balanced government. Why is having your son in government make your government imbalanced? The argument that I made to you the last time was that the president was from the southeast, the head of the Senate was from the southeast, the head of the legislature was from the southeast, and it did not make any sense. So if you say that because he's having Jojo in government, that creates an imbalance in government, is that the argument that you're making, Dennis? It doesn't. It does not.
I'm asking you a question.
So
if the president appoints,
the question I asked you another question. That's actually being a rhetorical. I'm just giving you, a rhetorical question. You process the argument that I'm making.
About the elected position. Let's talk about appointment. Samuel Tuwel appointed Minister of Southeast, Sam Wulu Southeast, and the rest of the Southeast.
I'm glad you're naming them. So you already know them. You know the Southeast. Know that way we are government.
That's what I'm saying. So if that is that's what I'm trying you to balance the argument you're making now with Jojo.
So I'm saying that, Dennis, if the president, this is an appointed position. Yeah. If the president believes that his son, Jojo,
right. The same way we have believed Southeasterners alone can occupy.
I'll get you. If you need to let me know.
The president appoints, but he has to go through a vetting process. They go through a vetting team.
That's correct. So
that's an independent body that's going to use good judgment to see if he's eligible compared to other candidates. So let's move on.
Absolutely. That's the point.
So I'm going into the South.
That's too much power in Liberia. Nobody would say.
So, Dennis, if the president decides that his son believes that his son can help to achieve his agenda of an inclusive Liberia, a prosperous Liberia, then he has to be able to extend that power to the son.
That's why you are not telling me.
You say what?
How is it different from we are appointing Southeasterners?
It's different because the president is appointing his son, and you got Weah, who is appointing people from a particular region in the country that does not reflect the profile of the country. It's not the same.
Look at even the ratio. You're taking one son and Waldo.
Exactly.
And we are going to bring 20. Look at the ratio.
Yeah, but they are not your sons, right?
You see, tell me you can explain better than me. I don't know how to explain it that way, but that's the ratio.
So how many ratio of people in government who have their children? What would be the ratio? So even 2 to 1 is a lot.
On top of them not even qualified. Look at the ratio, Dennis.
Let's move on to our last point here.
At least my friend Kelebo is watching the show tonight, so I feel good. Kelebo, I know you're watching, so you can call in later on.
Should First Lady Katumu Waka have a budget? And I'm linking that to First Lady Claudia. Should there be a budget for the First Lady? If she's qualified, if I want to add that.
What made her qualify? She already First Lady.
the qualification of the First Lady budget. So let me start with Flomo. Should the First Lady Katumu Waka have a budget, just like First Lady Claudia?
Short answer, yes. Yes, because the office of the First Lady is part of the executive branch. and that office have work to do, whether it
You
is
say it's part of the
humanitarian.
executive branch?
I mean, she working. Sorry, that is not. I'm not sure what it's part of the executive branch, but it's an office that have been existing for a very long
Alice, can
time.
you are not, there's a lot of feedback.
It is not from me though. The feedback is
It's
not
from
from me.
Alice. Alice, can you mute when you are not speaking?
So the office of the first lady is an office that have been in existence for a very long time. We go back to Dole, you know, Charles Taylor, and what have you. Now George Weah. So I don't think it's something that should be eliminated. Um, if the JMB government, the JMB administration can look at the budget um, under George Weah and reduce it uh, because of what the country has to deal with financially, that would be fine. But I think that office should function because there are a lot of things that the office of the first lady can do that will make uh, the government, the administration looks good. There are a lot of overseas uh,
Okay.
trips that she will have to take. There are a lot of philanthropics and humanitarians things that she will have to do. There are roles and duties that are designated to that office, you know, and that function have to be done. So that budget have to be allocated. Whether the budget should be uh, the same as the outgoing administration, I would say that's something um, the incoming administration should look at and should determine
Thank
that
you.
office should exist.
Thank you. Mr. Sharif, the first
Yeah.
lady budget.
No, I don't agree with it. Now is the first lady, so in the future, if we have a, first gentleman, it doesn't matter for me. What are they doing? Okay, first lady. So what? Okay, Claudia, who's first lady position? Who is the poster? I hate to say poster girl, so she's not a girl. So who is the what should I say? I'm looking for the language here, but so her position was used as it means to steal the Liberian people's resources, to steal money. Millions of dollars just went to that office. So what I'm really asking for is to audit her as well. Bring her office under scrutiny so that whatever she misappropriated can be taken, because we need development. So Claudia, everything that was given to Claudia should be refunded back to the Liberian government. And so that's where I want to start. And when you talk about First Lady, incoming First Lady Boakai, no, she shouldn't be given public funds. She can go out there, they can go out there on behalf of the office of the First Lady. They can raise funding in different ways, private funding and all these different things to upkeep the office of the First Lady. The office of the First Lady, like, okay, I don't know what the office of the First Lady is supposed to do in Liberia. Under George Weah, certainly it was a way of stealing the Liberian people's money to enrich the Weah family. And so I have a problem with it. And because of that, I don't think we should be wasting public funding like that. You asked a question yesterday. You asked the people, your guests that were on the show, and some of them, not all of them, some of them were saying that, the appointments, new people coming in, I think Dr. Douglas specifically said he doesn't expect anything in the next 6 months. You have to give them a year. Dennis, when they hire you in the United States, it doesn't take you a week to know those who we are working with. Okay, so in Liberia, somehow we have to go to work and say, okay, I got to get used to my office. I got to get used to the guy sitting next to me. And that's supposed to take a year so that we'll get some results. I mean, come on, this is where we are with Liberia. So
Thank
people
you.
now some people have no expectation for the next year or two. And before you know it, the 6 years is up, no development, nothing happens. But in the
Thank you.
United States, though, we have a different mentality about development.
Thank you. Alice, First Lady Katumo Bwakai. Yeah, go ahead. You are unmuted. Go ahead. Go ahead. Oh, you just muted yourself again.
Not I think there's some budget, but should not be exorbitant like what Clark Weir had when she was first lady, or what she's getting as first lady. Because the first lady, I know it is not a elected position or appointed position, but I think she will have her own office staff, immediate people that she will be working with. And I think she should be able to run her own mini office. Might not be too big, like I said, but she needs some to run her office. Because you can see even in Kenya, the first lady in Kenya, Margaret Kenyatta, she does have budget. The deputy president wife got some budget. So it's not something that will be, different.
Thank you. Mr. Krumah.
Yeah, I think so. Before the 1985 Constitution, I believe there is a constitutional provision for the office of the First Lady. I believe so. I may be wrong, but I think I've read that somewhere before. And then sometime after the 1985, Constitution with, all the amendment, I think it was taken out. There has to be some sort of provision for the First Lady and the first family. Then is this job of presidency has several implications on.
Right, you're frozen there, but they like the EPS cover the first family, so I don't know why should there be anything different. But Mr. Nawe, should the first lady have a budget?
I think I'm not sure. I was following Mr. Kroma. Actually, I did look this up too. I couldn't find anything on it.
No, it's not in the Constitution.
Yeah, I'm not sure if the first lady. Yeah, I don't think she should be giving a budgetary allotment as the first lady, but she, as the first lady, she supervises projects, and those projects are funded. I know back in the day, the first lady or the vice president, they will run programs like the Group of 77, right? And those projects will be funded based on, she can come up with projects, and the projects get funded. But I don't think there should be a line item, a budget item in the budget just for the first lady. I don't know. The office of the first lady is supposed to identify. There are a lot of at-risk, youth, or there are a lot of things that the first lady could do in Liberia, and through those she could be funded. But I don't think there should be money put in the budget just for the first lady. No.
Stephen Adams says it should be tied with the Ministry of State. Mr. Krumah, just complete your thought. You froze in the middle there.
Oh, so I was basically saying that I think it'll make sense to provide some kind of resources for the First Lady office. I mean, she's the wife of the president. The president can have this enormous incentive, and the First Lady is sitting there when security is not just physical security, it's actually human security of herself. And so it's not just the physical security of having EPS around her, but we need some sort of security that she is the wife of the president, and she's able to do some flexible things that brings some sort of respect to the office of the presidency,
like
but also to the country. Huh?
Like what? Like what?
I mean, the little things that we're talking about here. So, for example, Victor just talked about risk. For whatever reason, the first lady decide that, okay, next 6 years of my husband's presidency, I want to do some work in with women that are at risk. And so even if it's $250,000 budget just to put into that kind of incentive, it helps somehow she's focused on doing something that also contributes to the global agenda that the president and the executive branch of government has. But you can't just say, no, let's not just, I think it'll be unfair to have, the first lady not have anything, or the first gentleman, whoever that will be in that position in the future.
But look, when the president, can I just say a second? When the president gets elected, the Liberian people are electing an individual, right? It's like you take a minister, you're not hiring the minister and the wife, I mean, yeah, the minister's wife will be entertaining and hosting, guests who might even come from overseas and stuff like that. But I don't think there should be a budget in the minister's budget for the minister's wife. It's just about the same thing.
Or the speaker's wife.
Exactly. Exactly.
Let's conclude on this. There are a lot of callers waiting there. They've been waiting.
Well, let me chime in on this issue.
Oh, you see, I want to
well, you can't finish your tape. I didn't say nothing. Yes, I feel nice to them.
Go ahead.
Oh, no. So on the budget, I'm very big on fraud, waste, and abuse. But two ways I would tackle this though. First, I would like to look at historical data in the past. Other than Claudia, they necessarily do get a budget. The Tottenham's wife got a budget, or Toba wife, whoever. So that's the first place I want to look at. So if they got a budget, then to everybody, to Mr. Lamb's point, and I think somebody else said, Flomo said that, she has projects. She has to push her husband's agenda. Give her a reasonable budget. I don't care if that line item is under the Minister of State or whatever it is, but give her some budgetary allocation so that she can be able to take all those projects, even if it means 3 projects. And those projects come with administrative expenses and all of that, and staff and all that. But to say don't give her anything, don't give her what they gave Claudia.
What's the point? What really is the point of giving her projects if we have the ministries and everything functioning? I mean, why would project be given to First Lady?
Well, as a First Lady, you will take on projects. Even the Great America. I follow the First Lady of Sierra Leone, the office of the First Lady of Sierra Leone. No, I'm used to that as an example. That's why you need to put people in place that will, other people that will look at the budget closely and say, what I mean, this allocation is so high. What's the justification for it? So we're going to bring it down. You want $1 million?
We have President Salif. There was no first man. I mean, what did we get? What did we miss?
I mean, why don't we give first man money?
we didn't make
that. No, we may not have known about the first man, but
yeah.
What I'm trying to say is the reason why she gets is because she is the central influencer in the country, right? So that's, so she goes after projects that are dear and near to her heart, right? Mm-hmm. Usually they are benevolent projects, but the money will come into the project, not the other way around, not to put the money down and then she goes to find the project. No. Yeah, she should, when she undertakes a project, she gets funded.
All right. There are callers that have been waiting for 30 minutes. Let me bring that in.
Victor, you can't.
I didn't finish my thought, man.
Victor, you can't treat the office of the First Lady as a project in itself. The office of the press of the imagine, just think about the First Lady as someone like the Press Secretary, the Minister of State.
No, she's not.
The Minister of State portfolio.
She's
not any of those.
She's not any of those. So why are you laying that?
If you are giving me a chance to see what I want to say, you probably would have made sense to you. But again,
But a reasonable budget.
All right. Let me bring in our callers here. Oh, let's start with Elvis Morris. We got 3 callers: Elvis, Padmo, and Flomo. Go ahead, Elvis, you're live.
All right, thank you, Mr. Judd, and hello to the panelists. On the first topic, or I guess the first topic I want to address is just a boycott, hanging out with, Stanton Witherspoon. For some people it may, surprise them. But I always like to quote that Maya Angelou's quote, which is, when a person tells you who they are the first time, believe them. Joseph Boyka has a history of associating himself with murderers, thieves, and people who attempt to, steal money from government. Emmanuel Nukwe, his first vice president, we know his history, how very well corrupt he is. Prince Johnson, a flat-out murderer. Jeremiah Cohn, a thief who stole money from through the ways and means and funneled it and siphoned it to his hospital in Ganta. And then you have a man like Stanton Witherspoon, who is now being referred to as his son. So Joseph Boyka doesn't surprise me. The thing that I think people need to realize is that Joseph Boyka is going to be a one-term president. It's highly unlikely he's going to run for a second term. So he has no political favors to gain from anybody, or even any political, consideration to consider for his future. He's going to do what he wants. He's going to have a nice retirement package for himself and his children, and he's not going to squander this opportunity again. He's learned his lesson, so he's going to be very well off.
Thank you.
The last thing you guys are talking about with this first lady issue, I mean, it's so hypocritical and it's laughable, because the reality is that this president did not arbitrarily, make up the budget for the first lady. He went to those who were supposed to hold him in check. He went to the legislature, and they approved the budget. And he had to specifically say what the money was going to be spent on. And every year, the legislature is supposed to check and balance, make sure the money was being spent on what it was intended for. So people hate George Weah so much that any money that his wife, was given in her budget should be returned back to the government. I mean, I think that's complete tabata to say that, because the reality is this lady was doing projects. She did certain projects in Liberia. People see it. It's tangible proof. You can see it. It's not her personal properties.
Thank you.
When we're talking about this. So please, let us be honest in our analysis. It's unfortunate I couldn't be on the show, but thank you for taking my call.
Thank you. Let me go to Mr. Michael Patmo. CPP Michael Patmo.
Yes, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Dennis. Great show. You guys had a really great topic, so I'll try to run through as much as I can. So I will start first one with the first lady. Look, I believe that if the country is struggling to raise money, there are competing interests, but most importantly, there is no accountability or audit structure set up for the president, for the first lady's office, and that is the most worrisome thing. You cannot, nowhere in the government, provide money for people, and there is no accountability. There is no structure. The first lady does not appear before the legislature to defend the budget. And because of that, I think it should not be so. Either she appears and defends it, or she doesn't get any money. The second one is the president's son. Look, there are 5.4 million Liberians. This is not the only qualified. I don't care how qualified he is. He is not the only qualified person for a government job. Go in the private sector. Go start a business. Open a foundation for your father. Work on that thing. Leave the other things for the other people. Who is going to chastise this man? Even if he made maritime boss today, and I'm a deputy commissioner, and I have problem with him, who am I going to go complain to? Papa? That's an unhealthy work environment, and it shouldn't be. Lastly, I will talk about. I will ignore the PYJ thing because it's everybody sees it for what it is. But lastly, concerning the president hanging out with a known pharaoh, the Liberian people voted for change. This is not change, okay? It just creates more questions. So what will be the center with more influence on the president, on his policies, on his office? This is a self-injurious wound that he's doing, and it shouldn't be. I expected Ambassador Boyka to be a lot smarter than that and to stay away from this. Unfortunately, that's not the case. So now we'll only watch and see what influence that Senator Witherspoon has on the president and how it affects his leadership. But great show again, and thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you, Michael. Let me go to Flomo Livingstone. Mr. Livingstone, you're live.
Great show today. I mean, look, I see nothing wrong with JB hanging out with Senator Witherspoon. The only problem I have when Morris from my fan was them putting on the social media. That's the only problem I have with it.
What?
They should not have done that. They should not have posted on social media. I think Senator did that just to show her that he close to the puppet, and for me that was completely wrong. But for him, meeting.
You think the puppet approved it? You think the puppet approved the pictures being on social media?
No. I don't know if they approve it. I don't know because then so I can use my phone to record like the show that going on. You don't have to approve it for me to post it. I share the show. You don't have to approve it for me to do that. So my point I'm trying to say is the person who recorded it and doing it was completely wrong.
Thank you.
Again, I don't have no problem with that. No, his son working in the government. I don't see any problem wrong with it. But as a VP, there's a thing that is, when JB was a VP, his son did not work in his office. He didn't even hire his son. So why would you think you hire his son? I can tell you that. I don't think you'll be able to hire his son. Maybe you go apply in other centers of the government and you can hire them. But just my brother will not hire him. And when it comes to Jefferson Kochi, I see all the ANC force, they're not even criticizing what the police have, Jefferson Kochi. But they want to talk about Stanton Water School. One of Fanatic Kofa. For now, we'll tell the House of Representatives not to associate with Fanatic Kofa in the house there because he was indicted here too and went to jail for the same reason. So it will cause problems. It's not good. So we should tell all these House of Representatives not to go closer to Fanatic Kofa. Is that what we want today? Mr. Jah, is that what we're pushing? They shouldn't go closer to Fanatic Kofa because he did the same thing in America here. And he's running for the speakership. So are we telling them not to associate with him? Is that what we should be? We should discuss that too there because that's important.
Okay.
He did the same thing at the water sport.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. But as far as I know, Pepper and Saul will not say anything bad about dry rest. So, so Flomo, I understand. Let me go to our next caller here, Collie. And then after Collie, we'll have Mr. Kalebo Gonglo. Seattle Collie, is that it? 585. Go ahead.
Finally, my man, coming on. Yeah, finally. Wow.
This is the craziest thing about our Liberian politics. People got their own type of criminals that they support because the person do something, they all jump in support of the person because that their own the criminal, which is not right. I salute my brother, Mr. Freeman, and that of Mr. Nangwe in speaking out. But my sister, Molva, we're coming up with all the kind of crazy allegation and theory, it's just bad for the country. That their man will go sit down, elected president, go sit down with a criminal. When you saw you in these United States of America, to see a president go and sit down with a criminal like that. The man is a convicted felon. You go sit down with a man and in his house with all those things. Come on, man. My people, let's be real, man.
Thank you.
We want straighten up the country. We got to clean everything up. We can't be doing these kind of things and say it's good. Oh, yeah, because it's my person or their person is giving me support, so it's fine. It's not fine. It's not good. It damages the image of the country because other people are looking at us what we are doing. It's not fine. What Prince Johnson thing here? Prince Johnson is the man of Lima County. Nothing else we can say about that. But my brothers and sisters, man, let's be real what things are unfolding. You're talking about Jefferson Kochi. It's alleged. But this man is a felon. And we shouldn't be talking no kind of thing. There are a lot of things. Okay, Thomas Bashir that was jailed in New York. 35 years old man. Police. They do kind of crazy thing, and today the man is free. So it's not because of allegation. There are a lot of, so we say, or how they call it, the Gulf War, or how they call it, Iraq War, that will say that they have weapons of mass destruction were all true. So we shouldn't sit down here and everything because it comes from America. Where are those sources coming from? Who are those? It will be a plot.
Thank you.
Let's sit down and watch the investigation to go on. We shouldn't just start throwing, we are all level-headed, man. Don't just start throwing all those kind of things out there. It's not fine. Thank you.
Thank you. Let's take our last caller here, Mr. Kalebo Gonglo. Mr. Gonglo.
Dennis, great show. I actually came on the show because one of the listener called me that someone has said I suspected was Mohammed Sharif that gone MIA. So I decided to come here. But here what I was saying. My first comment is on Mr. Livingstone. Mr. Livingstone, I don't know you, but I assume if you are married, you are an irredeemable cheater on your wife. If you are not married, I think you are a very promiscuous person.
Come on now, Kalebo.
For you to suggest that it is good for Stanton and Blackguard to deal in secrecy but not in public, I think it dictates your lifestyle. It dictates your mindset about life. I mean, that's a short of the comment I will make on that. But let's go on this issue. During the campaign, I made a statement. It's a courageous statement. I said in the runoff election that between we are and Blackguard, there was no bad guy and no good guy. There were both black and eyeballs. You just choose the side you love and stick to it. Throughout the campaign, Mr. Blackguard did not promise to do, he was not a change candidate. He did not promise about radically overhauling the structure of the state. He did not. He did not speak to that. His supporters were speaking for him, but not Blackguard himself. And what is happening, I give it to Blackguard. I pat you on his back. I think Blackguard is very consistent. When he left the United States, I believe that was March this year, he went to Liberia, he met Bernard Ewing and said, I'm going to dance with the devil. He went and took a picture of Prince Johnson and the coalition, whatever started. So all that Blackguard is doing is consistent with his promise during the campaign that he will do whatever it takes to just have enjoyment, whatever enjoyment means for him for the remaining part of his life on earth. So for me, I don't think nobody should talk on the Blackguard did not promise change. His supporters promised change. They put words in his mouth. He did not even talk on anything on war crime, nothing. Blackguard did not promise the Liberian people. So I think what is happening is there's going to be a circle. We're going to be in it. The Liberians have to stay with for the real change to come. I submit.
Thank you. That was the word of Mr. Kalebo Gonglo, who was
MIA.
According to Mr. Sharif. Mr. Sharif, what did you do?
This my friend, man. Y'all leave the man alone. That's my friend. Y'all picking on Gonglo now. Y'all picking on him.
Somebody had to go call him, seek him out, and call him and say, "Can." Somebody.
But let's conclude tonight. No, our time is fast spent. I don't want to keep. Let's conclude within the next 12 minutes. Morris,
we have to address some of those.
I took note of some of the things that the callers were saying. I think I wanted to highlight one of them.
All right, go ahead. 2 minutes.
Your regular caller, your number one caller, always coming on and making some outlandish claims, as though he has an authority over some of these information. How Joseph Blackguard is sleeping with the devil and murderers and all these things. But he's forgetting to know the same names that he called are the same people that were in George Weah camp just 6 years ago. And he seemed to have forgotten that. The Alex Tylers of the world, the Prince Johnsons of the world, all of these people were in Weah camp. In fact, even the Stanton was in Weah camp just, I'll say 3 years ago. Stanton was in Weah camp 3 years ago.
A year ago.
There you go.
That was before the indictment.
You just come and just spew out, misinformation.
You got to draw the distinction on that. Was before the indictment.
No, but the bottom line is, I'm saying to this caller that Weah is no saint. In fact, Weah was in Delaware when a BM guy was arrested right in front of him, and Weah almost went to jail. All of us know that. We know these stories. Weah is not a saint. Don't come tell a story about morality here when you are in a camp and supporting someone who has a long history of hanging out with criminals. And then you got Mr. Padmo call and talk about how the first lady don't go to the legislature. And so do you know how many institutions that get budget and they don't go to legislature to go and justify their budget? Who told you that because you allocate money in that budget, that person has to go to the legislature to go and you make sense when you say the country is constrained, there's no money. I will listen to that more than for you to tell me because the person don't go to the legislature and so they cannot give them money. That's not how government works. These things are, before you come up and start making some claims, at least do smaller research, ask some questions, and inform yourself about it so that, Kelebo, I'm not going to respond. I think the way Kelebo went, it's distasteful. I'm not going to respond to it. I think it's below the belt. That's not the kind of conversation I like to get in. When you want to talk about issues, go to the issue, and don't make it personal and start talking about people, how this person, to me it's immature. I'm not going to engage in that.
Yeah, that was very personal.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Tavi, you said you wanted to speak to the callers.
Yeah, there are a couple of calls that I wanted to not calls, but some of the comments that were made. One, the first caller, I think everybody talked about the gentleman that called. That was on the show. I don't know his name, but whatever. Evis, talking about, I want to address the issue where he talked about the first lady budget, and we've seen the projects that she's doing with the budget. Now, Evis, I don't want to even go there where, I think Kroma said it right. Sometimes when you guys support people, just the ability to be objective is so compromised. It's almost like you got blindfolds on. The money that we give this woman is nothing close to the project. You cannot measure the two to say this is a justification for the budget allocation. So for a young man like you to even say that because you support WIA is disappointing. You need to think critically. Even if you support somebody, put on your critical thinking cap. Don't be so blind. Don't act like you didn't go to school. It is wrong for a young man like you. Don't do it. People respect you more if you support somebody and you can say the truth. You say you're not on Facebook, but you act like you speak with so much authority. You speak like you got facts and you really got lies. Because if we look at in plain view, the money that we're giving this woman and the, crowd we are of hope and the different things, there's no comparison there. So please don't say that anywhere because it just speaks really to your mindset and it's so wrong. Don't do that. So Michael, my own risk, CWA friend Michael, I talk about, Stanton is a felon and, his influence. Now we all know Stanton is a felon. I'm not being Stanton up and down talking, we're not going there. But Michael, I don't like to sit, talking from both sides of your mouth. You were on this FOL. And so many times when Stanton, the case were on, you could not even call Stanton out. You couldn't say, well, because what? Stanton, were your friend and he probably supported your project. You couldn't do it. But because your party didn't win and because you don't like Boyka, his leadership, so now he's a felon, he's a dead, and Boyka should not eat in the pen with him. No, you can't do that. What is wrong is wrong. If it was wrong before, it's wrong now. And so you don't be acting like that you're so wrong. I mean, you care much about this whole felon thing of Stanton is a felon. No, you just want to prove a point. Yes, it is wrong. It is not about winning the corner. It is wrong. Yes, Joe Biden, other people, they meet with people and felons and they get their clemency. But that's a different thing. To what extent are you going there with it? You think they're going to meet them in corners? They're not doing that. They're not meeting them in corners. They're not taking gifts from them. They're not talking no secret talk or making promises or opening their line for them to be talking all kinds of things. There's a different comparison there. And Boyka is doing too much and he has to be told. He's an old man, yes, we get it. But sometimes the old people need to be told that when they're going astray and he is wrong. Nobody said you shouldn't meet Stanton, but the ongoing conversation, the different meeting, the discussions should not happen. Optics, morally, should not happen. So that's where we're going with that. And I will close with this whole Jojo Boyka thing. And somebody also mentioned that, they need to create jobs for other people. Again, this young man has to serve. If the culture do not put processes in place to have check and balance and to make sure that he's properly scrutinized and that he's the best candidate, you can fault him for it if he wants to serve his country. So he must be given the opportunity.
Thank you.
That's all I have to say. Thank you. It was a great show.
Thank you. Alice, you want to talk to the anything you want to say about the callers before we start taking last comments?
Yeah, somebody call and talk about a Stanton issue. and talking about inconsistency and all of that. No, I'm very consistent. All right. I'm not speaking to ongoing conversation between Stanton and the president-elect. I'm not aware if there's any conversation going on, any kind of personal friendship going on, but I'm speaking to the photo that I saw, which is the president-elect sitting down watching football game with Stanton. And I process it as a grandfather talking to his son, having family time. All right. Stanton might be a fellow in the United States, but he is a Liberian. Even in Liberia, in the House of Representatives and Senate, they do have fellows there. Waka going to be acting with these people every day. The same Prince Johnson, who is a murderer, well, got the president-elect to reach to this level. And so we have to deal with people not on a criminal basis, but as human beings. He could advise him for next time. Old age comes with wisdom. And so sitting down with Stanton, it could be more than that, advising him to be careful as a young man so that he wouldn't face such a problem that he's facing today. Again, I don't know about any personal dealings, so I'm not going to speak to that. But I think meeting him to thank him for whatever support through his social media outlets, I think the president-elect can do that because Seto got followers, and he told his followers to give their votes to President Waka, to President-elect Waka, and they did that. So thanking him is not a bad thing, but having ongoing conversation, business dealing, I don't think it would be appropriate to be going on. But as far as the picture is concerned, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Thank you. Well, thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for the show tonight. At this time, we're going to use 38 seconds each for your closing comments. Let me start with Flomo and go to Morris. Morris always in a hurry to leave. Mr. Flomo, your closing comment.
First of all, I want to thank you, Dennis, for giving me the opportunity to be on this show. And thanks to each and every one of you for being on this show and partaking as well. I will say JMB, Stanton, and the security apparatus should have known better. They should have coordinated to avoid this media embarrassment. PYJ is ultimately the godfather of Liberal politics. First day of office, yes, Jojo Walker deserved a job in the government. And the Liberian people did not elect JMB so that they can lower their expectation. The Liberian people elected JMB to rescue. So they should do the right things to rescue the country. They should define or redefine rescue. The Liberian people are not waiting for anything about lowering responsibility lowering expectation. Because if they don't do it, 12 years is not guaranteed. The very same people will boot them out. Thank you.
Thank you. Morris?
Yeah, Dennis, it was good being on tonight. At some point, it got really heated, but I enjoyed it. I love heated debate. I mean, you say Friday night debate, but usually it don't become a debate; it just become a conversation. But it's always good to be in the company of these great panelists. Keep looking forward to more discussion about our country. I think JMB. I wrote a very interesting article today. I don't know if you saw it. Tag Focus on Liberia on it. He has JMB is in a very.
I thought that was your bluffing picture where you were standing over the school.
So you didn't even read the thing I wrote. Anyway, it's good to be on here. Thank you very much. I'm not going to talk about it again. It's okay.
That was a shameless plug, right?
Davina, you're closing.
You didn't read the comments. She says you already went. Dennis? Am I muted?
Let Davina say what she's saying.
I see I'm pass. I heard you talk. You just want me to talk. I said,
Go ahead, Mohammed. That's okay. Go ahead,
no,
Mohammed.
I'll pass.
So Dennis wanted Telvina to talk for herself, and you got Mr. Nangwe, as you always said, Mr. Nabi, right?
You're right. And that is
I like the way
they did in Eula.
I like the way you say it the other way, Mr. Nabi. Okay, so look, every time we bring up the issue of George Weah and the economic degradation that Weah and his family brought to Liberia, I mean, you have supporters, I mean, who are just blind loyalists of this man. Tonight we talk about one of the blind loyalists, Jefferson Kwiji. But it's not just Jefferson Kwiji. It's, you got guys in Liberia, abroad, that George Weah probably sponsor, that see George Weah as a cult figure. And so they can't let it go. And these guys, some of them are threatening some sort of violence if George Weah is summoned. If George Weah is summoned to account for all the corruption. But what I want to say, I want to call on this administration to follow the money. George Weah and his his surrounding and those around him, they have to be made to account. This is the thing that I'm looking for, Dennis. The one thing, the early signs for me of success, when we start to see these yellow machines on that road from Ganta to Greenville to Kipamas, then now I know that the government means business. The road to Lofa, Lofa County, in the Lofa route and all these different routes, then I would say that this is what the administration promised, not some of the things that you heard yesterday to say, oh, you got to wait a year because they got to know each other first.
Be over.
Yeah, I know, but this is very important. Lastly, Dennis, they have to follow the money because George Weah's wife, from what we heard, is that some of this money may even have already gone to as far as Jamaica, the country of Jamaica. So this new administration needs to follow this money wherever the money goes, even if it is in Iceland, even if it is to the end of the globe. They got to go look for this money, bring it back home, and develop our country. We need those money. These people destroy us. Dennis, you're talking about 10 to 20 years of economic destruction. It's very sad.
Thank you.
And who is to say, Dennis, 1 second, who is to say that the next president is not going to repeat this? If this doesn't, if people don't have a handle on this, what this outgoing administration did, who is to say that the next administration is not going to repeat the same thing? This has to be, this can't happen again. It can't happen again. And so, those are my final thoughts.
Thank you. As a result of this, because we are very serious for the Boakai government to succeed, we have assembled a lot of professional Liberians to talk about how can we move the country forward based on our distinct professional backgrounds. On Monday, I'm going to have an energy expert here, Mr. Ekana L. Phillips. He's an electrical power engineer and business development specialist. We're going to be talking about moving Liberia forward. How can we use energy and electricity to move the country forward? You don't want to miss that. And that's just the beginning. We're going to have someone on education, on agriculture, city government, and all the 9 years. You don't want to miss that series. And we're going to do all this before inauguration so as to give the Boakai government an idea on how to move the country forward. And that by far is our own contribution to our country. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for tonight. I want to thank our viewers and even those who will watch later. We never close on a broadcast here without playing the song "We Are All Liberians."
I haven't closed yet, then.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Mr. Nawi.
Because I'm from the southeast, so you're just gonna jump.
So as long as you are qualified,
anyway.
no problem.
Yeah, right. Okay. So, but anyway, as always, I think it was a great program, and I want to thank you guys again for the opportunity. Whenever I'm in this, like I said, I go away with little something new. So thank you. And Maurice, I'll look for your article and take a look at it and see what it says. But I wanted to quickly, go back to Jeff Koji. He's a young guy. I really hope that for once he's gonna wake up and take seriously what is happening to him. Um, I think the situation he's in a boatload of trouble, obviously, but I think if he plays well, he could salvage himself. I mean, Yuri and others have been on the sanction list before, from the Taylor days, and they managed to get themselves off that list. But I think any attempt to grandstand and be defiant and be combative, I think will only dig him deeper. So those who are closer to him, they should tell him he needs to take note because he has a family, even if he doesn't care about himself. He has a family. But enough said about that. As to the president-elect, it's guys like Morris who continue to make excuses for this president-elect. I think they are the ones who are enabling him. Oh, he's just a president-elect. For Christ's sake, he's already the president. This man now represents the Republic of Liberia. He doesn't want to represent the United Party, and whatever he does reflects on the country. It's like, in Liberia, they say there's a witchcraft in the town. You come to town and you come from Monrovia, you go and lodge straight with a witchcraft. What do you think the townsfolk are going to think about you? And so he has to really be careful and think very seriously about what he does. It just seems to me like there's always an action before the thought follows. We should, be the other way around. Mr. Witherspoon supported him. We understand that. But I think even as we will be scratching our heads if they have met, I think it might be a little bit more palatable if say Stanton had gone to meet him up in his hotel room or something. But how do you, the president of an entire country, you get up, you go and shack up with, come on, man, So that's just unacceptable. As the vice president, for the second lady, my friend Morris came on. You say it's laughable that we are debating such a topic, but I thought what he said was laughable that the president doesn't force people to approve the money in the budget for the president. We all know how the budget got approved in this country, in Liberia, over the past 6 years. So I thought that was laughable. But thanks to the rest of the callers, I think the inputs were great. I would admonish my friend Clevo to prioritize, his platform and not have other people call him to come and tune in to listen to what is being said. But all in all, I think it was a great show. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you so much. Thank you all for spending the Friday night with us. Until then, we close with our song that says, "We are all Liberians." Have a good night and God bless you.
We are Liberians.